Hello Age of Wonderites, welcome to the Goblin edition of the How to Play series. We're starting off on the Goblin Marauder, which costs 63 gold and has 4 upkeep, being a tier 1. This is what the unit looks like, the nice big mosquito darter hive on their backs, and the nice description. The bottom, there we go. So they got 29 health, 28 movement points, 7 defense and 8 resistance. Here's the upgrade tree. Again, they start off in trooper, so their stats will be minus the trooper upgrade. On the gold or elite medal, they gain inflict severely poisoned, which has a 7 or 9 potency chance to pass. And if it does apply to the enemy every turn for 2 turns, they will take 4 poison or blight damage. They do have a ranged attack, mosquito darts, which deals 4 physical and 4 poison damage, or blight damage rather. And this is not subject to the minus 50% range modifier, so they can attack to their maximum range without being affected. They do have a melee strike, which is 5 physical and 3 poison damage, which triggers once per action point used. They are goblins, so they gain cave crawling, which is movement penalty underground is reduced by 2. They gain night vision, so plus 2 vision underground, and wetland walking. Again, the movement penalty for wetlands is reduced by 2. And they gain blight protection from 2 sources, so the unit itself gains 20% blight protection, and all goblins have 40% blight protection. You'll see that on this Goblin Marauder. So again, 45 gold, tier 1, so 4 gold upkeep, what the unit looks like. Very big axes, the size of them. Here we go. The obsidian cliffs must go. Okay, 37 health, 28 movement points, 9 defense and 8 resistance. Here is the build tree, the upgrade tree. On bronze or veteran level, they gain volunteer. Volunteer means they cost minus 50% upkeep. And on gold medal, they gain inflict bleeding wounds, which has a 9 potency chance to pass. And basically, if it applies to the enemy unit, once per turn, for 2 turns, the unit will take something like 4 physical damage. Melee strike is 11 physical damage. This is per action point in melee combat. They are shielded, so they take 2 less damage. This is increased by 2 when taking non-flanking attacks, so anything from the front, they have plus 2 defense. They do have cave concealment, so whenever this unit is underground, they are invisible. So you will not see them unless you have a unit standing right next to them, or a unit with true sight. And you'll see that on the Blight Doctor. Let's see. All infantry gain the wall climbing trait, and again all the goblin abilities, and they do only have 40% blight protection because that comes from the goblins. You can see that in brackets, that's the source of the ability. You've probably seen a lot of these. If you're going through all the races anyway, you might have seen a lot of these abilities so far. I'm just going through them all in case some people just watch goblins or just look at humans or anything like that. So this is your regular unit, 45 gold, 4 gold upkeep, 32 health, 28 movement points, 8 defense and resistance. That's what the unit looks like. Weird little bandanas on there. I think they're bandanas, maybe it's like they've been scalped or something. And they've got scythes or sickles or something like that. They limped toward our company like crippled beggars, but these were no downtrodden. Their pus oozing skin. Ew. So they do spit some poison on you, dealing 11 blight damage. And this is a straight shot and happens once. So it takes up all action points to use that ability. Well, as many remaining anyway. You do have melee strike, which is 6 physical and 3 blight damage per action point. They do have the tunneling ability, so they can burrow through the underground dirt caverns. Inflict noxious ability. I think this is a 7, perhaps a 9 potency, and if it passes, the unit has minus 2 resistance, so your poison will deal increased damage, your blight will deal increased damage. And they are goblins, so they have all the goblin abilities. They do also gain an extra 40% for this, just being this unit, for a total of 80% blight protection. The skewer, these guys look pretty nice. 45 gold cost, and the same typical tier 1 upkeep of 4. Here's the description, if anyone's interested. 37 health, 28 movement points, 9 defense and 8 resistance. Again, on the veteran level or the bronze medal, they gain volunteer, minus 50% upkeep. And on the elite level, they gain inflict bleeding wounds. I think we've went through that already. They also deal 12 physical damage per action point used, and also have armor piercing, so plus 2 damage against armored units, basically negating the armored trait. All pikemen gain first strike and polearm. First strike means the unit will attack first when defending, and polearm means plus 5 physical damage against mounted and flying units. All the same typical goblin traits. Here's the Wargrider, your tier 2 cavalry unit. So 81 gold and 8 upkeep. 8 upkeep is your tier 2 cost. 49 health, 36 movement points, 11 defense and 10 resistance. And here is the upgrade path. So again, minus 50% upkeep when they are at bronze or above. And first strike when they reach the gold medal. First strike again means when attacked they will, when defending an attack they will attack first. Here's the description. We fled into the forests thinking it would slow the goblins. Of course that's not going to work. Have these people not seen Lord of the Rings? Okay. Well, in fairness, it's hobbits outrunning goblins. Hobbits don't have a great chance to begin with, I suppose. So we've got 13 physical damage, and that happens once per action point. Overwhelm, so that physical damage is increased by 3 when attacking pikemen or shielded units. Whether you attack from the front or the back of the shielded unit doesn't matter. Also, plus 6 physical damage for the first strike if this unit has moved 4 or more hexes that turn. And again, all your typical goblin traits. Let's see. The Blight Doctor is tier 2, so you're talking 8 gold upkeep, 35 health, 28 movement points, 9 defense, and 11 resistance. And I really like this, like, almost Necron style insignia in the top of their banners. It's really cool. And the Blight Doctor, actual doctor, like from olden times masks that they have, it's really cool. Don't know what these skulls are from though, they're huge. So here's the descriptions. Soon all our diplomats were nauseous. Well, you know, diplomacy with goblins is never really a good idea. Okay, so an upgrade path. On the veteran level, they gain Steel Enchantment, and Steel Enchantment means you can take all buffs, maybe debuffs, from a target enemy unit, and they are then applied to the Blight Doctor. On the expert level, or the silver medal, they gain Inflict Noxious Vulnerability. Noxious Vulnerability, I think that is the -2 resistance ability. On gold or elite medal, they gain Inflict Enfeebling Fever, that's -2 defense. And Exhausting Fatigue is -4 physical damage. I think these are all, well, all the inflict abilities have either 7 or 9 potency chance to pass. Okay, 8 poison or blight damage for poison bolts, up to 3 times, so once per action point. Weakening Touch is a very good ability because it has a very high potency. That's this number here on the right. So this isn't an actual damaging ability, it's just a spell. Being a touch ability, you have to be standing right next to the enemy to use it. So 15 potency, and it's checked against resistance because the wee resistance icon, and it's also affected by blight, protection, or immunities. So if someone was immune to blight, then this spell wouldn't work on them at all. And again, same can be said for 100% blight protection. You wouldn't be able to use this ability on a Blight Doctor. But if it does pass, and does affect the unit, you're talking -1 defense, 2 resistance, and 40% poison or blight weakness for 5 turns, which means your attacks will deal extra damage. Also, you deal 9 physical damage in melee combat per action point. They have another ability called Cure Disease, which will get rid of all the poison or blight debuffs on that target friendly unit. So if one of your units had Weakening Touch, for example, you could come along and cure that disease off of them. All support units gain True Sight, and True Sight will let you see invisible or concealed units. For example, you could see the Goblin Marauder underground if the unit had True Sight. And then all the typical Goblin buffs, but you also have Blight protection at 100%, because this unit gains 60% Blight immunity all on its own. Do note that this unit also costs some mana to produce as well. Many times I've tried to produce this unit with, 10 mana. I'm like, why is it paused? Why will it not continue? Because you also need the mana. Okay, so this is your tier 3 unit. So you've got that tier 3 cost of 16 gold. I'll just show off the unit before I go through the stats, because these units look really nice. I would like to see just the beetles themselves as a unit, because they look really good. And I imagine they do a fair amount of damage in combat too, without a guy wielding an axe on them. I also like how they've got, I think these are shields on their back with wee banners on them. That's really cool. So anyway, here's the description. The nightly beating stopped when my mother was eaten by a big beetle pupa that I caught and named Murky. Okay, so this unit is might be nicknamed Murky. There's no way we can't call these guys the Murkies. So these Murkies have 65 health, 36 movement points, and 12 defense and 11 resistance. The Murkies have they gain noxious vulnerability on the bronze medal, and the Murkies gain severely poisoned on the elite or gold medal. So I'm not letting this Murky thing go. So they deal 14 physical and 3 poison damage per action point in melee combat. They also have tunneling underground, and being a cavalry unit, that's very nice. They can tunnel very fast. It does cost a wee bit extra movement points when tunneling, so it's nice to have a unit with a lot of movement points to do your tunneling. They also have wall crushing, so they can use their melee strikes against walls, and their physical and poison damage is counted against it, I think. It might just be physical though. And they also have overwhelm, so it's an extra 3 physical damage when attacking pikemen or shielded units. Being cavalry, they gain charge, the same way the Ward Rider does. And then they have all the same goblin buffs, but also they gain that nice light protection. So that's all the goblin units, guys. Next time we're going to be doing the dwarves. So I'll see you guys in the next video.